Hey everyone, Agent Kate Sith here. I hope everyone has been doing well and staying safe. In today's video, I would like to show you guys a little MOG Bonanza weapon rundown and discussion Martel and I did a couple days ago, where we discuss all the new MOG Bonanza weapons and their applications, or what we think will be good or not. We do go on for a while. We discuss each weapon in length. So excuse the length, but I hope you guys enjoy. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and let's get right into the video. So we agreed that we'd stress that it is bullshit that these things are locked behind a Bonanza, and they better release better versions of everything, or just release these eventually into the game without the Bonanza. Some sort of quest or whatever process.
I mean, I don't think they will, but I do think that doing it the way they have is... I like to see new and interesting stats, unique effects on things.
Exactly.
This is nice.
What I say in the
but
Discord
why make
before?
them Bonanza rewards?
Exactly. When I first saw this, I said something in the Leafkin Discord. I was like, how am I super excited yet very disappointed at the same time?
Because you're getting none of this.
Yeah. How is it that I am super excited seeing these stats and weps, but also at the same time very disappointed and frustrated? Oh yeah, because they are locked behind the stupid ass Bonanza. Oh, that gun looks so cool. I can't wait until we get to the gun. So I think, just being optimistic, like I usually am, say hopefully this is just a sign of things to come, sign of potentially what we'll be seeing from Odyssey, maybe, or future stuff like Imperium +3 and the Dark Relics.
It frustrates me a little bit that they put the dev time into making some unique effects and adding them to equipment, and then,
you would think
Bonanza only weapons.
Exactly. You would think if they did that, they're gonna apply it later. Like, have they ever done that where it's like they did something unique, like effect-wise, but they never added it later?
They've definitely added various effects that used to only be found in one place or one thing. For example, the White Mage Imprian Legs effect, the cure amount to MP, was later duplicated to a lesser pair of legs that were also White Mage only, which made it completely freaking pointless, but they did put it on another piece of gear, like the Seafer slacks or something. So they've done stuff like that before, but this is a little different.
Yeah.
I guess part of the reason that they were willing to make these special stats is that they didn't really have to test shit for balance, because it's not gonna matter, because no one's gonna have them.
To test it, yeah.
When you lock it to a weapon like this, you don't have to imagine how it's going to synergize with existing weapons, except for the single-wield ones, because you can dual-wield. But, like, they don't have to compare this shield to, current paladin stuff, because it's a shield. You'd have to wear it in this, it would replace the slot. You can't get this effect with other things at the same time. You can swap in for effects, but my poor TP.
Yeah. So this starting out with this dagger seems pretty worthless.
I actually see a couple of potential uses.
Oh right.
Not even counting it as like a DD item.
I thought it was thief only.
Yeah, it's not thief only, which is one of the good points. So you have 40 evasion and 30 agility, so it's an evasion item for thief. Then it has 40 magic evasion.
That's pretty good.
Unlike on Red Mage Idle, you could do, if you're Red Mage in, you could idle in Daybreak and this
for 80
for a ton of magic evasion. Well, it'd be 70 because it's 30 on Daybreak.
Oh, it is 30. Okay.
Yeah, it's 30. The other thing is that this has 18% movement speed on it. So if you were idling in it, it would free up your other movement speed slot, which on Red Mage, for example, would be Carmine Crusades, which don't have nearly as much magic evasion or defensive stats as like Malignants. So this could up your idle defensively a lot and maintain movement speed. Although, I mean, you'd have to be wearing a dagger, and part of it depends on if you were meleeing, but like just for like Red Mage Magey idle, I could definitely see uses for it if you were an in-sub to dual wield. Although I guess you could main hand it too.
And you're in a situation where you didn't care about losing TP, because I don't think you would actually want to be meleeing in this unless, like you said, you need a ton of magic evasion, and you're gearing more towards survivability than max DPS.
I don't see the haste on it being particularly useful, considering that eye level gear for the most part has a excess of haste.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you're using like a haste belt, I guess that there's cases where, like, if you're doing the Red Mage in-spell TP, you might find this useful because you're not using a haste belt. You're using that damn trove belt I don't have still because it costs too much.
Oh, Orpheus?
Yes, that one.
But yeah, I can see it. I can see it because it's like if you're in a fight where like the most important thing is surviving and not taking magic damage or getting debuffed, especially on red mage. You know, it really screams red mage too because like the resist slow, right? How annoying is it when a red mage gets slowed, especially if they're sub ninja? You gotta use like a panacea and then rehaste yourself.
Anyway, I do see. So I can't really evaluate it very well as a damage weapon because I don't even remember how much damage and what stats other high-end daggers have.
It's not a great
not
damage
really
weapon.
my area.
Yeah.
But I see potential uses for it. That said, I don't know that this would make it onto the list of things like if I won this, would I pick the dagger? Probably not.
No. All right, moving on to the shield, which is a gem. We got Vitality 30, which is kind of not the most useful thing. Accuracy 40, Magic Accuracy 40, Magic Attack Bonus 30, Evasion 30, Magic Evasion 30, Shield
Magic
still...
Evasion Shield. White Mage still doesn't have one, so now you'd have 60 Magic Evasion between Daybreak and the Shield.
Oh! Yeah, Daybreak and the Shield now. Wow, that's actually huge. This ruins my staff combo.
Now,
officially.
the other thing that's nice about this is that 30 Vitality may look useless, but that actually adds a lot of defense. So as an idle defensive set, and since you probably don't usually have much PDT, that actually does help reduce your chance of getting murdered a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So, for context, what we're talking about, chat, is that I normally idle in the Corinne staff, which has resist ailments on it, or resist elemental staff.
Yeah, elemental resistance.
And then I also use the grip with the magic evasion on it, right? And that would equal more than you can get with the current Daybreak combo, because there is no actual shield in the game with magic evasion. It's the only
magic evasion shield that's white mage wearable.
There
is one other one, but it's paladin only.
So besides paladin only, this is literally the only magic evasion shield in the game now, and it's like definitely the best idle set for white mage now, and red. Well, I guess everything now.
But I guess there is that if you're going from, like, in your case, it doesn't matter that much, but in my case, I'd be going from a club and shield, and the shield has 10 PDT to this, so I'd have to make up that PDT somewhere else. Basically, it means I need Shamash Rope. Damn it.
Shamash Rope, yeah. And then to move on to the gem, the
special
most
stats.
important set, yeah, extends the duration of standard abilities used on self by 25%, and increases skill chain duration.
Wow. I'm not sure what I mean, I guess that it extends the skill chain window to give you enough time to...
Yeah.
Presumably that would apply, like, when you weapon skill, and then would just... That's a really strange stat, and I guess it might be helpful if you're trying to multi-step, but...
You would have to close the skill chain
while wearing a shield?
Yeah, exactly. You would have to be the one with the shield on and weapon skilling, and then the skill chain you closed would be extended. For the next window, I mean. That's a weird one.
But anyway, the buff duration is very interesting and very annoying at the same time, because you'd macro that in for, like, so many things. Fealty, Rampart, Palisade. If standard abilities means that it doesn't work on SPs, then I guess you'd have to leave Invincible out. But,
Defender. Well, I guess you don't really sub-warrior.
Yeah, I don't sub-warrior, but Defender, Berserk, anything that, any self-buffing job ability, you'd want that swapped in, and that means that I would never have TP, and my AM3 would go splat constantly. It's infuriating. Why did you have to put that on a damn shield?
Yeah. I mean, think about Warrior. Warrior could, like, Warrior sub Samurai, swap this in for Hasso, and then swap back.
I'm not sure I'd swap it in for Hasso. It's not even worth it. Hasso's got a long duration and good recast. It's things that you can't full-time. Well, can't you, like, full-time Berserk now anyway?
Warrior can.
Or does that require, like, a weapon swap or something?
I believe you do need Conqueror.
Me, Warrior, not really a thing.
It's very close.
Like crit bonus, right?
That's like checked is very close. Like with enough merits and with all the gear, it's like within like 15, 20 seconds.
Still make it last a lot longer, so it might be worth swapping out if you're not doing AM3. But if it breaks your AM3, that's pretty damn annoying.
Yeah.
On Paladin, I'd probably end up doing it anyway, even though it would irritate the shit out of me. Just because everything would last so much longer. And Paladin has a lot of really high potency, short duration buffs. Fealty, Rampart, Palisade. Any of those lasting longer is... I mean, it would make them last a lot longer, because 25% of a minute is only 15 seconds, but that's still 15 seconds you can't get any other way.
Yes. So really the clear winner on the shield is definitely Paladin here.
I mean, I guess Red Mage and Saboteur?
Oh, true.
I don't even...
But I mean, I usually get... How many times do you not get to cast all your spells that you want during Saturday?
I mean, it's happened before. If anything is resistant to a debuff, then it's a thing that can happen.
True. Sign of NMs to come.
I guess White Mage would get Sacrosanctity duration, but only for themselves.
Now, do you think that's how it's going to work? Where it's Warrior uses Blood Rage, perhaps, but they only get the extended duration, or Warcry even?
Considering it's specified used on self, then I can only assume that an AoE is not going to give the effect to everyone. It's probably a effect received sort of thing, like Stone Skin gear and Phalanx gear.
Yeah, standard abilities, so this would not apply to SPs or anything. I think that's what that is meant to say.
Probably. I can't say for sure, but... Or it could mean that it doesn't count sub-job abilities. The translation on this is questionable.
Ooh. That would suck.
I would tend to think that it probably means it just doesn't work on SPs, because that would be... iffier on balance.
I'm very salty about this shield, though, with the magic evasion on it now for White Mage.
Don't worry, you'll win the Bonanza on the wrong character.
Nice. Wouldn't be surprised. Okay, this sword is actually really interesting. Especially if it works offhand, because usually it would say main hand and then the effects. This probably works offhand. So, potentially Red Mage and Blue.
I feel like I'd need a whole lot of math to figure out exactly how good that is.
Exactly.
Especially if you're using it as an offhand, it means that depending on the weapon skill you're using, you could be losing your TP bonus offhand.
You would, yeah. Red Mage would be losing it, and Blue would be using it, which is a large reason why their weapon skills do a shit ton of damage. But, I mean, this would make up so much accuracy if we do get harder content.
I mean, yeah. Once there's an accuracy need, then you set aside the TP bonus offhand anyway.
So I think in situations where you would need the accuracy, this would be the clear offhand choice, assuming everything works in the offhand for at least Red Mage and Blue, I would assume. With like Tizona offhand this, adding another 10% strength mod to, or addition to Expiation. And then also Savage Blade. Actually, even Black Halo would get use out of this.
Strictly speaking, any weapon skill will get use out of that because it's going to add that strength mod regardless of whether there's a current strength mod. Yep. And it's exactly how Utu Grip works. So that's going to benefit anything. That would even benefit like magical weapon skills because it's still adding to the base WSC.
Now, is this the first time they've added this since Utu Grip? I always thought they would do more.
Lowen was mentioning in chat, there's the Ice Brand one they added before.
Okay.
It had like that int mod or something.
I see. Okay. Physical damage limit is essentially when you are capped attack, it raises your PDIF? Question mark, Martel?
Yeah, it increases your PDIF cap. So like when you compare your attack to the monster's defense, the value can only get so high. It's a ratio that's multiplied by your base damage. And if you normally cap at a 4 or something, that would apply a 5% bonus to that, and it would go up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So the Malignant set has this, and also a lot of the +2 necks, Dynamis necks.
And yes, the Utu Grip applies the Dex mod, additional Dex mod, even if the main modifier isn't Dex. That's why it's so good. It would be not that impressive for Dragoon or many other jobs if it didn't work on anything. I mean, still rather it would have been Strength, but getting 10% of all the Dex you already happen to have is cool.
Moving on to the Great Katana, this actually seems pretty awesome if you're ever third eye tanking.
Felt the need to add a tank in Great Katana.
Like, I would never use this over Massa, unless it was like really, really tanky. Like you were relying exclusively on surviving with third eye the entire fight. Increases counter damage. Oh, counter damage based on number of third eye evasions. So it's like chains. It's like impetus, but for counter. It's kind of underwhelming. Increases the number of third eye evasions during staging by 1 with each skill chain you make. See, that's pretty awesome because you would be making a ton of skill chains.
I mean, that's one hit you evaded additional. That's not that much. I don't see that as a particularly potent increase. You don't skill chain that fast. If the evasion plus thing was increased by doing counters or by getting hit or something, something that's happening more frequently, it'd be a little more impressive. But I doubt you could even spam that fast enough to keep Third Eye up after a while. It'll wear off naturally.
It depends on the mob, though. Like, if I'm taking a group of mobs, then no, absolutely not.
Okay.
You're right.
Behemoth and him 100-fisting you.
Definitely not. Definitely not that one.
Skill chain him fast enough.
But like an Omen boss, a Kadere.
I mean, if it's elegied and slowed.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of those bastards hit pretty damn fast if they're not debuffed.
It's like Fu. Fu is another good example. An NM like Fu, where it's like they're not 100-fisting you necessarily, but if they get off a double attack,
really
if they crit, yeah.
Go play with Wrathhair and his in-death.
I would not get this great katana though. There's no way. Okay. Kibo's spear.
For why?
I'll leave that one to Martel. It does not look great at all.
Because the biggest problem I had was definitely that I couldn't cure my Wyvern enough.
Oh, you cut out a little bit?
As my headset gives up on me, it muted itself for some reason. I don't know. I totally needed more mind for my Spirit Link, and for the total and utter lack of mind weapon skills Dragoon has. Well, I guess there's Savage Blade if you're doing Nagling, but no. This is the polearm, so no. And then I'm going to add a mind mod to my weapon skill modifiers, because Dragoon totally has all that fucking mind gear it's got nothing to do with. Definitely. I have so much mind gear on Dragoon. No, I fucking don't.
I think the insult.
They had a theme here, and they kept the theme from the last one, because one of the earlier versions of this visual model, like dispensed water or something, and there was some lore mythology behind it, not Final Fantasy XI lore, but like real life lore, that made the connection between the spear and water or something. So they gave it a water theme and stuck to it really hard. And unless this additional effect hits like harder than a red mage in spell, no one gives a damn. And unless that occasionally is about 90%, this is totally pointless. Hey, you can use this to go spam Leviathan Merit BC, right? You'll absorb water occasionally.
True, and then your Wyvern would take a lot of damage from that one too. So every jump would do it. The jump better be huge.
Because we totally needed every jump to recover Wyvern HP.
That regen plus 5
sort
seems
of
insulting.
kind of a semi-cool effect if your Wyvern is really getting its ass kicked, but putting it on a polearm makes it completely freaking pointless. I'm sorry, I'm not going to swap to a polearm or even carry the damn thing, so I can cure my Wyvern an unknown amount on each jump.
This is where we need like Onion Knight, but for weapons. We can take all the good stats on these shitty weapons and compile them into one weapon. Like Build-A-Bear Rima.
This thing could restore my Wyvern's HP completely, and I still wouldn't want it.
Really?
Not over anything else in this
It's that bad.
My Wyvern dying is not the freaking problem. Although, my Wyvern getting dismissed due to charm or dying to doom spam is more of a problem than it dying because something hurt it slowly and gradually and then killed it. It's either going to get one shot from like half HP or something, or it's going to die because I died or got charmed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not lacking.
20-minute
if I needed to, I'd go buy some Dawn Mulsum.
Yeah.
I mean, there are options. If you're paying attention to your Wyvern, there's a lot you can do to keep it alive, and there's a few cases that'll kill it anyway, but not so much that I needed that thing.
We should probably rank these as we go through. So Dagger is probably like a 6 of 10 in interest level, would you say? Like, there's potential there, but it's not like God tier or anything?
I'm not great at ranking things in the first place. I'd have to like go through everything and then start compiling a ranking, and it would take me forever. So I'll leave that to you.
First thoughts. I'd say the shield is like a 9 of 10, 10 of 10. The sword, probably another 6. I mean, 6 or 7 of 10.
Needs lots of math to see when and where it would actually be best DPS, because it might be somewhere, but I don't have enough information to say for sure.
I agree. Well, I think the best offhand right now for like blue, if you can't use TB bonus right now with like Tizona, is the Odin sword. So I just with 30 strength.
X.
Yeah, with 30 strength and 40 accuracy, and then the weapon skill additional strength mod, I just be very surprised if this wasn't even with that or close to that. Anyways, but then again, it is a rank 1 prize. Would you really waste a rank 1 on this?
That's the question there, because with any of these, it's not like I'm going to go do a couple fights and get this. It's,
exactly.
Is this the one thing here out of this list that I'm willing to go after? You know?
Yeah.
And that's assuming you happen to win. And that one is some sort of joke, frankly.
I would say my rankings are giving it the benefit of the doubt. Because assuming it is good. Like this, like the Great Katana gets like a 2 of 10. The Spear, from what Martel said, I'd give it a 0. A flat 0 out of 10.
I mean, there's things you could conceivably use it for, but who's going to waste the reward on that?
Yeah.
And Wyvern Recovery was not the problem. I'm sorry.
You can stack mine for your Star Driver?
If they made it to where each jump reduced Call Wyvern recast, then maybe we had had something to talk about, because that would have been more useful.
Just a way to get back quicker? Even if you lose a little bit of DPS?
Or you know, give us a Call Wyvern Deus Ex Machina type thing. I mean... Anyway, moving along.
Heart. Chakra potency, I can say as a monk, is completely worthless. Chakra's already overtuned way too much.
Like how Healing Breath cures for more HP than you have, sort of thing?
Yeah.
On Dragoon, yeah.
It's like, even with a mediocre bottom tier chakra set, you're already healing for like over 2,000.
Recast for chakra?
Reduces recast.
I mean, I'm assuming this cast time is talking about recast, because cast time for ability makes no sense.
Yeah, I meant the potency. The chakra potency is essentially worthless.
I know what you were referring to. I was just moving along because I think we pretty much covered it. There's no need for that. It's excessive. You don't have enough HP to make use of it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. And then, the reduces chakra cast time by 1 second seems really interesting.
But making it more spammable is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Potentially, if you're countering enough or there's enough mobs hitting you, you could potentially use the job ability a lot more often.
There's certainly a lot of applications for that, right? Where you can just get a lot of mobs, even put up counter stance, or just use a counter set and just essentially keep yourself alive with chakra. And trust, I guess. Depending. The puppet stuff seems, I mean, what? Pup would have to get use of it? Pup would have to sub monk or something? Is that what they expect Pup to do?
I mean, I think they intended for it to just be a melee weapon for Pup.
I guess.
Since the other things, those are not really applicable. I mean, yeah, you would have to sub monk to do anything with the chakra or counter, so...
I mean, maybe that's what it's meant for, because that's what the potency's for. Like, Monk main has really good potency, but Puppet sub monk potency is probably not as good.
Counter rate's gonna be garbage anyway, right? So...
True, yeah. It's just weird they added the pet shit to it. It's like,
if Pup wants to cure themselves, wouldn't they just use like a white mage puppet? I'm not a Pup, so if I'm saying something they don't ever do, then, you know, feel free to correct me, but I feel like they don't even need this. Trusts aside, they don't even need this.
Yeah, I'm very underwhelmed by this, except for the counter reduces chakra. I just like that mechanic in general. Where,
it is kind of neat.
Doing stuff reduces the job ability cooldown, because we don't really see that ever.
You know, if they put something on the Dragoon one that reduced jump timers every time you did something, then that would have been a lot more interesting.
So what do we give this weapon, chat? The hand-to-hand? Feels like a 3 or a 2.
I wouldn't rate it highly for sure.
Yeah. Save the Queen. That actually looks pretty cool. Is this a new model?
I don't think so. I think that all of these have existed. Well, actually, some of these maybe not. I don't.
This looks new. Yeah, the gun is brand new too, and the
gun is new. The Yagyu Darkblade I think is new, but I think I've seen the Save the Queen model before somewhere.
Really?
I believe so. I'd have to dig it up. I mean, it may have been the previous Save the Queen version, because there was the original Save the Queen, and then there's the Save the Queen 2, which I think is the first one to look like that. I do agree that it looks nice though.
I can find it.
The original Save the Queen had a regular, like a really plain model, but I think Save the Queen 2 is the one that has the same model as this. I could be mistaken, though.
Yep,
yeah,
you're right.
Yes.
Yep.
So that's not new. Most of these are repeats like that, but they are rare and interesting models because they've only been rewards from limited stuff. See my vocabulary there.
Cover duration... Cure potency 2 on a sword.
Here's the problem with this, though. Majesty gives 25% cure potency 2. Cure potency 2 caps at 35%. So you get to use 5%. Oh, sorry, 30%. So you get to use 5% of that.
Oh. Yikes.
And so it's like, why did they even... And Paladin's the only one that can use it, so... Huh? Unless this is like cure potency 2... and ignores the second cap, I don't quite know what they're going for there.
Now, the cover reduces sentinel cast time, though. That seems interesting.
Assuming that cast time, quote unquote, means recast time, then yes, that is interesting. Now, the real question is that like
each cover?
Is it like a lot of cover effects where the effect activates on each redirected hit?
Yes, that's what I would assume. So like the behemoth, the behemoth example, every behemoth you would get sentinel back.
My recast would drop rapidly. So if I was like super tanking 100 mobs and I covered someone, the problem here is that they have to have hate. So if I pull hate, then it stops proccing the effect, so I stop getting the recast reduction.
That can be controlled. Now just envision a behemoth that's that deadly. But it has way more HP.
I mean, I could see swapping this in just for the cover, honestly, because cover's duration, that's a huge chunk of duration for cover.
Oh yeah,
like,
30. Is that 30%?
Like maybe a minute, a little bit. Let me check what the timer is in my Lua.
Hopefully that's 30% and not 30 seconds.
It's probably plus 30, and honestly, that's probably better than 30% because the base duration's so short that plus 30 is closer to like 50% increase.
Oh really?
Cover. Looks like I have a 79-second timer built for cover in my Lua, so that's probably the duration I have with all the gear and all the bonuses.
Okay.
So 30% is like 45-ish% increase. 30 seconds is like a 45-ish% increase. Not exact math because I can't do math in my head for shit. But it's a really large bonus to how long cover lasts.
So this one sounds like a 7.
It's decent, but
6,
like
7?
I wouldn't want to tank it over Burt Gang, and the cover mechanics require, like the Sentinel thing requires some. Well, for starters, someone else has to have hate, which is a problem in the first place. And then of course your Sentinel recast has to be down already, which it could be if you were planning on using this. But Sentinel's got a really long recast, so it's going to take a lot of those hits to get that recast down significally enough for you to get to use it again soon.
Yeah, there's kind of some anti-synergy there, right? So like
exactly.
you got to use
not synergizing.
You got to use Sentinel, which will probably give you hate, but you need someone else to have hate to use cover, only to get Sentinel back quicker, which will get you hate. I mean,
assuming it works the way we assume it works. Now, there is one other thing it is good for, not that I particularly like this, and that is it has a lot of mind on it, which you could use for Chivalry, but you couldn't swap it in for that because you'd lose TP. But if you were looking for best in slot Chivalry gear, then there you go. I would not want to full-time it, though. I don't see it. It would let you get that last 5% cure potency, too, but unless it's breaking cap or that's a new term or something, you're getting a limited amount of the effect when you have Majesty up, so it seems like they didn't really think about some of this.
Well, they thought about this one, or I guess they didn't think about this one.
I'm not sure which way, because this thing is, frankly, it's kind of crazy, and not even just maybe for the reason you think. So, AoE Utsusume is really cool in the first place. Give everyone shadows. Awesome. Here's the thing, though. On Nin main, when you have Yonin up, Utsu gives decent enmity. It's like roughly half a foil or something. Maybe a little bit more, like 160 CE, 480 VE?
So they're multiplying that by the people they cast on?
Exactly. If they get the enmity for everyone who gets hit by that, then they're doing like basically a super foil with every Utsu cast, and they have 3 Utsu recasts to cycle. So and they have crazy enmity plus. So the enmity generation from using that could be absolutely ridiculous.
So Ninja will actually be top god tier tank.
Well, enmity wise at least. I'm not speaking on their durability or toughness compared to the 2 tanks, but that is a huge, and it's player targeted, so you know it's like you cast it and everything on your hate list gets enmity, or it adds it for all mobs that are on your hate list. So that's potentially really effective.
This is so game breaking. This is so like will actually break the game.
Can I have a spell that does this, please? On Paladin?
This is
I'd like so many foil, but. This is like AoE foil, basically.
I'm gonna rank this right now and give it like a 50 of 10. There's so many useful applications. This will completely change Ninja and how it's used in the game.
Oh, excellent question too. Does this work offhand? Because if it does, then you can use, Nagi or the Fudo Masamune main hand for its enmity properties, various things like that. Because there's a lot of stuff that doesn't work offhand. And this doesn't say anything about main
It doesn't
hand
say
only,
main
so
hand. Yeah,
it
I
could
thought
be
that.
a ridiculous offhand.
It doesn't say that for any of the weapons where it has to be main hand. So
Now,
potentially it could.
We do have precedent for things not saying main hand only and not working offhands.
True.
Hello, Rima.
But recent stuff, right?
I mean, yeah, that's pretty old. They implemented that a long time ago, and I think it I'm not sure if it was an update notes when they did it or not. But we damn well find out about it. It was really obnoxious.
So
But,
for anyone that's a little rusty on Ninja, Ninja Tsutsumi has what, 8 or 9 shadows for San, and then this has a penalty of -2 per party member. So you are essentially casting San AoE to everyone in your party, like Martel said, generating a shit ton of hate for tanking, and also giving everyone 6 to 7 shadows.
Now, on the reverse side of this, then the mob can AoE and wipe them all.
Yeah, but like you said, they have three spells to cycle through.
They do have ones to cycle through.
Like DDs don't even have to be concerned with it either. They don't have to cast their own shadows and waste time casting shadows like with the
casting shadows
ambush.
is not an interruption of their enmity cycle. It is their enmity cycle.
Exactly. So like you have a full party of DDs going fucking ham, not having to worry about shadows ever. It doesn't matter if the mob is spamming AoEs because the ninja is trying to keep hate spamming shadows anyways. This is insane. This is the biggest shakeup we've seen in a very, very long time.
And plain in.
And none of you are getting it. None of you are winning it, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yes, indeed. We don't have to worry about it at all. It hasn't affected the balance of the game in the slightest because no one's going to have one. And someone's going to win this, and they're going to pick the most worthless thing they possibly can just because.
Yeah, I feel bad calling out this person, but you remember when they did the giveaway where there's like they ran into gambling issues, like laws or whatever, and they had to change the first Bonanza in the United States where they just gave away shit instead of the numbers. Or they just appeared in your MOG house, your delivery box. I think Ard won like
Ard got a Kepri jacket. I wish Martel had been the one to win.
The jacket.
I would have gotten my Hunan Gimbaris, and that would have been a lot better.
No, I think the first prize in that one is someone won a Rima of their choice, and they got sent a Rima, and they picked Yoichi at a time when like mythics were like insanely OP.
Yes, it was the height of
and expensive. That was like
20k
per Alexandrite.
Yes, the 600 million gil mythic.
Exactly. And then
there weren't
like
even second steps. It was, you got it to 99 and you were done. There was no Beitetsu and no Swart.
It was just completely done. Yeah, exactly. It was just done.
And they were so good then, and like during that era, Runehige was a whole like 50% better than every other polearm. It was
It was like basically a lot of the weapons were like that.
Yeah, and a number of them were. There wasn't enough multi-hit or anything like that for other weapons to compete with them.
And then even think of the code tanking. Think of the code tanking implications where you have a paladin or a rune fencer just going ham.
Giving them shadows all the time.
And then they just have shadows permanently. Yeah, they can't be hit. It's like, forget about Batuta. You just have permanent shadows now from the ninja, and you're just code tanking with the ninja.
Another thing you can do is you have a rune fencer give the nin Valiance for the fast cast bonus, so they can explore the recast. Wear more enmity gear and less fast cast gear in your Utsu song.
Yep. This is how we're gonna do Sealed Fate, Martel. I'm gonna win this, do ninja main, and it won't matter that they spam TP moves 3 times in a row back to back to back, because we'll have shadows for all of it.
Pretty sure there's some of those that ignore shadows or wipe them though.
Oh, true.
I know that there are shadows, like some of them, like the missiles one, shadows would take that and keep that from killing you, but like the really dangerous ones, like Floodlight, I think it was called, the Silence and Paralyze or something, I think those will ignore shadows.
Oh, true.
But still, yes, of the effects that I'm not sure they really considered, that is probably the one that's like, Essie, did you think about this?
Do we even go on? This is so broken. Everything else will be a disappointment.
We can at least look at everything else.
Brave Blade 3. Junk.
I
want to say it now.
I mean, they need to explain what this means, because the physical damage limit is relevant, and the jobs, well, 2 of the jobs it's on don't have any.
Yeah, Dark Knight. True, if it's a massive amount.
Yeah, I was saying 2 of the jobs. Dark Knight has plenty. They have the most of it. It would depend a lot on how potent that is, and how long it takes to get enough enmity to make that scale up. And then if you have enough attack to cap.
But maybe Rune Fencer.
Yeah, and I wouldn't really want to use a Greatsword on Paladin anyway, because...
This would have to be such an insane amount of
Would have to be pretty ridiculous because
damage.
The rest of what's on this does not really overwhelm. It's got the third stat like everything else, the accuracy, magic defense bonus +10.
Like think about what you're think about what you're giving up with not using Lionheart on Rune Fencer. The TP bonus, the store TP, the
you're losing a lot there.
The augment, the rank 15 augment.
So everything about this is pretty much hinging on that one stat. And it would have to scale up really sharply so that you don't need too much enmity to start making it good. Or the cap for it would have to be really high. Depending on what they do with it, though, if they make it increase the caps sufficiently, it could be crazy. Because those are a major limitation in how much damage you can do to things. But then you'd also have to have enough attack to get to it because it's only a cap, not a boost to your regular PDEF.
Yep.
It raises your PDEF cap,
so
not
situational,
your current.
Based on
it's kind of like on Malignance, where
is.
Malignance has a physical damage limit on it, but do you have enough attack to make use of that?
Exactly. Same thing with the Nex. It could be a worthless stat, it could be a super OP stat. It depends on your attack. And you know, the thing is like nowadays people think they're capped attack, but oftentimes they're actually not. Especially in like Dynamis Divergence or anything where Geomancy is nerfed, essentially. People are probably not capped when they think they're capped.
That greatsword did not give me anything I wanted. I have never asked for Paladins to be able to use a fucking greatsword.
Except for if you can use a greatsword and a shield at the same time. That would be pretty cool. Look forward to Templar in 2022.
Maybe acceptable at best.
Now this is new. This has to be new.
I have not seen that model before. I think that's a fresh one. Just like the Yagyu Darkblade is also, I believe, a new model.
Yes, and there was another one.
Let's see here.
Oh, never mind. These are all you. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the upper ones are, the last three are new. The previous ones have been seen before.
Okay, so we have inflict magic burst damage on skill chain duration. Elemental magic occasionally cast spells without using MP.
Proc rate of that would have to be really high.
The proc, yeah, exactly. It would depend on the proc rate.
Now, I have to wonder about that. Why does it say inflicts magic burst damage? Why wouldn't you say like magic burst damage, magic burst bonus plus, based on the phrasing is weird. And by duration, do they mean how long you wait after the skill chain before you nuke, or how many steps are in the skill chain? Because there's another piece of gear that has like Maxentius, I think, has a similar stat.
That has to be a translation error.
Let me look at this.
There's no period there either. Shouldn't there be a period though? After duration? Oh, never mind. They're not doing that.
No,
never mind.
I mean, they don't do sentences in the gear. But like, if you look at Maxentius, for example, it says increases magic burst damage based on skill chain length. This is possibly how they intended to translate that. If it does the same thing, and it gives you a bonus to your magic burst damage based on how many steps the skill chain had. It sounds like that might be that sort of thing, but it would have to be pretty potent to bother with. Although the other stats on it are not bad. It does have a lot of magic damage compared to most clubs.
See, what it would have to mean though is like, if it didn't mean that, if it wasn't based on Maxentius, it would mean that the actual melee hits of this weapon deal magic burst damage based on the skill chain damage? Question mark? What would the other option be?
You are being silly at this point.
But it says inflicts. That's the confusing part. Like, what is it inflicting? It's inflicting magic burst damage?
I think that their phrasing is strange, but this does look to me to be a copy of the Maxentius effect. Hopefully at a higher potency. But...
I agree with you. Yeah.
Now, the one thing I can say for this is that it's got good, decent, magic accuracy in MAB. It has 30 int, which is more than Maxentius, and it has higher magic damage than I think has ever been seen on a club before.
True.
Maxentius has 232. Daybreak has 241. Yes, 241. So it's got very high magic damage and high int, so it could make it good for like Helices and stuff, and just nukes in general.
It's only on that one.
I don't know if it's best though, because nukes are not exactly my specialty, especially since I only do it on Geo.
They typed out RED for Red Mage, not RD.
Yeah, well, like I said, translation problems, because that's basically how they do Red Mage.
Yeah, we'll assume this is...
I think the JP character for Red Mage is like red.
But up there, I just scrolled up and they got it right before.
Yeah, so they screwed this one up really bad.
Yeah, I'll agree. Alright, quite possibly the coolest looking of all of them, in my opinion, is the gun, Excenter. Excenter. I want to add an N, but there's no N in there.
I mean, I feel like that has more value as a lock style piece than as a gun, but
Yes,
I'm not
completely agree. It's shit.
super up on gun stats.
In terms
Honestly.
of application and use in the game, this gets a 1 of 10, and in terms of lock style, it gets a 10 of 10.
It gets a high lock style rating.
Too bad you can't like permanently keep it out in your lock style though, like wear it on your back or something. They would get a true 50 of 10.
It needs a holster.
Yeah. This is apparently a complete ripoff of the gun in Final Fantasy VIII. Let's look it up. Right here. You see it?
It's similar.
This one looks longer, but I mean, it's like the PS1 graphics style. You guys assume.
I also can't see if it's got that stock after the handgun handle, because his arm is in the way in the 11 screenshot. See how it's got the extended stock after the handgun handle?
See that?
And I can't see if it's got one in the Final Fantasy 11 one because his arm is the way. Actually, you see that little? Is that a bit of gray above his wrist right there? So
right
it does
here.
have one.
Yeah, right here. It does.
It's hard to see though because of the way they've got the view set up. But yeah, that looks to be pretty much the same thing.
Oh. Zoom in a tiny bit more. It's definitely there.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think that could be anything else from this screenshot. But yeah, the rest of the sets don't really wow me. If they had made it to where it would not consume, like, the special bullets, it would have been a lot more interesting. Instead, they add an exception that makes it to where only stackable ammunition will not be.
With Ranger, you already have like 99% chance of not consuming ammo with recycle.
Why did you bother?
What's the point?
So now you can't use it to use the good ammunition for actual regular ranged attacks, weapon skills, and so on. What was the point?
Ammunition that cannot be stacked. Yeah, I mean, this would be a game changer. Well, potentially a game changer if you could use these special.
I think it's still lacking in various areas, but it's not really my area of expertise.
And then I think that's it.
Yeah, then we're on to some of the old...
oh, there's still weapons, though. Grudge. Wait, did they use this grudge? No, they couldn't have.
Oh, they have. That's not new. I've seen that before.
No, I mean, like, as a Bonanza weapon.
I feel like that has been a reward before.
For, like, an upgraded Bonanza weapon, like what we just went through?
Not as one with an eye level.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. The model is not new. They have done this before. I mean, the way they're going, I think you can probably expect to see one eventually, because they're going through all these, previously lock-style only models and adding actual weapons for them.
So I'd say overall, the new stats and the new everything is really exciting. It's cool to see new stuff, them come up with new ideas, but it's complete bullshit. It's locked behind Bonanza, and this Darkblade is absolutely game breaking. If you win the Bonanza, you probably want to pick this.
I mean, if you do Nin, yeah.
I think this is what would make you play Nin, honestly.
Nah.
It seems pretty fun.